Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kakadash. Don't want to see Apostle and Elders, great millstone that rule well. Shalom to the brothers in work, Syrian truth. There's all one business insider going into, the Garagma, specifically the one being developed by Elon, but it's kind of general. I read the title, it says, "It became me. Studies showed revolutionary new brain chips may bend your mind in strange and troubling ways." It says what studies show that Elon Musk's new tech can bend your mind in strange and troubling ways. It says what Elon Musk wants to put a computer chip in your brain, or maybe not in your brain, not in your brain, but the brain of some human somewhere. Musk, a neurotech startup, Neuralink, has been working towards its implanting a skull-embedded brain chip in a human since it was founded in 2016. After years of testing on animal subjects, Musk announced in December that the company planned to initiate human trials within 6 months. Though this wasn't the first time he'd said this, these trials are on the horizon, It's meant to have been sometime in 2022. Says the Neuralink has spent over half a decade figuring out how to translate brain signals into digital outputs. Imagine being able to move a cursor, send a text message, or type in a word processor with just a thought. While the initial focus is on medical use cases, such as helping paralyzed people communicate, Musk has aspired to take Neuralink chips mainstream to, as he said, put a Fitbit in your skull. It's funny, I was watching a YouTube video on it was some girl. Basically, she was controlling a video game, doing various actions using her thoughts, and it was like she had one of those, like a cerebro cap for reading brain words. I think it's just one you wear on implant. But she had the screen kind of showing how it maps like the different brain activity, and then basically when she'll say, "Oh, this is what I think about when I think about something sad. This is how I think about pulling something towards me. This is me thinking about doing various different actions," and then it would light up different parts depending on what she'll then think about. So it's like what what these men are dealing with is on that low level, man. They're just kind of able to see where the electrical signals go, and then put meaning to that. But yeah, that's the thing, is that's just the carnal aspect. And as well, it's like even with what they need to do to get that is it comes with a downside, which that's in the scriptures. So it's a Musk company is far from the only group working on brain-computer interfaces or systems to facilitate direct communication between human brains and external computers. Other researchers have been looking into BZIs to restore lost senses and control prosthetic limbs, among other applications. While these technologies are still in their infancy, they've been around long enough for researchers to increasingly get a sense of how neural implants interact with our minds, as Anna Wexler, an assistant professor of philosophy in the Department of Medical Ethics and Health Policy at the University of Pennsylvania, put it. Of course, it causes changes. The question is, what kind of changes does it cause, and how much those changes matter? Yeah. It says, well, intervening in the delicate operation of the human brain is a sticky business, and the effects are not always desirable or intended. People using BCIs can feel a profound sense of dependency on the devices, or as though their sense of self has been altered. Before we reach the point when people line up to get their smartphone implanted in their brain, it's important to grapple with the dangers and unique ethical pitfalls. Well, people ain't, most people don't want to think too deeply about these things. They just think like, oh, cool, and jumping on it. Says in the 1974 film The Terminal Man, a man gets an invasive brain implant to help with his seizures. While the operation initially seems to be a success, things go awry when sustained exposure to the chip sends him on a psychotic rampage. As is typically the case in sci-fi films, a scientist warns of the disaster early in the story by comparing implants to lobotomies of the 1940s and 50s. They created an unknown number of human vegetables, he says. Those operations are carried out by physicians who were too eager to act. So yeah, it's, again, people looking at like, this is going to be great. But the grey aspect of it is this is tied in with where the elites are steering society towards, where that, that mark, that charagma is basically, inseparable. And if you want to operate, it's a necessity. That's how it's going to be pushed. It says, what was that? It says, skipping down a bit, it says, what recent improvements in artificial intelligence and neural programming materials have made the devices less invasive and more scalable, which has naturally attracted a wave of private and military funding. Paradomics, BlackRock, Neurotech, and Synchron are just a few venture-backed competitors working on devices for paralyzed people. Last November, a startup called Science unveiled a concept for a bioelectric interface to help treat blindness, and last September, Magnus Medical got approval from the Food and Drug Administration for targeted brain stimulation therapy for major depressive disorder. But yeah, so it's not just Neuralink. There's various, and they're all kind of slowly working. There's ones where they've already got human trials kicking off, and people have got it. So this is, it's not even in a land of fiction anymore. It's a reality. What it say? Having this in your mind is going to affect you. It says will affect your sense of self, and you get a reliance on it. So what does it say here? Revelation 16:2, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which have the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. Yeah. So when you receive that, you're gonna take it, wherever in your right hand on your forehead, there's gonna be that that grievous sore upon you, man. You gonna take it and get blighted. Oh wait, really comes down to this. Ecclesiasticus 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not altogether wiped away. Yeah, this is, we're dealing with that original enemy, that destined foe, and he's the one who's producing this. So if you're Israelite, for you to get in the mix, that's a mess. But yeah, I'll just leave the quick one. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yeshua, Shem Kakadash Shalom.